Hey guys, how you doing? This is Husta with Just the Plant Room. Welcome back. I got a request to show my so-called terrariums up closer, and I think that's what we're going to do today. So if you like this type of content, stick around. We're going to take a look at my mini terrariums. All right, guys, welcome back. So before I even get started, I want to shout out, let's see, I wrote the names down so I wouldn't get them wrong. Seppi Agostini. Your comment made me smile. Yes, me and my husband are a comedian show, and he just shook his head no, but we are, and that's all day, on camera and off. Miss Lady June. And Joanne Feliciano, loved your comment as well. Plants are relaxing, and they do transport you somewhere else when you're digging in the dirt and messing with your plants. So I can relate to that. All right, so let's talk about it. Now, by no means, I'm not an expert. I just like to recycle. And what better way to recycle and incorporate my plants than taking old jars, making them something new, and adding a little bit of humor or maybe doom to them, depending on your point of view. Most of the plants are plants that I have. Other plants are plants that I buy and I propagate from them to add to these jars. So we'll start with the smaller ones. These two are repurposed candle jars. And what I do is I put a layer of pea gravel, and then I put a little bit of charcoal, horticultural charcoal, then my medium, which is cocoa coir, a little bit of sphagnum moss, a little bit of perlite, and that's about it. And then I decide what I want to put in there. Now, I don't have, because I'm still learning, I don't have that depth of perception, you know, like those pretty ones that you see that the people that have been doing it for years come up with, where it looks like you're going into it. But nonetheless, I like my little creations. So in this jar, I have, this was a skull my daughter bought. She thought she wanted to do something with it and then changed her mind and gave it to me. And just a few plants. So I've got a piece of ficus from the plants that I have here at home, and I've got a fern in here. I have not watered this. The difference between this one and that one was I saw someplace where they said take off the that rubber seal that comes on here when you buy the candles. So I wanted to see if that was going to make a difference as far as the way it held humidity or that condensation on the glass. So on this one, I took it off. And to be honest, it holds the humidity just as well. And I'm not getting as much condensation on the glass. So I'll just go ahead and rotate this one a little bit so you can see it. And all the way around. And we'll stop right there so you could see the little skull. That little skull is made out of resin. I think my daughter got it on Etsy, or maybe she got it on Amazon. I'm not quite sure. But I wasn't doing anything with it, and I thought it was kind of cool. So, and there it is. All right. So this guy, same concept as far as the layering goes, except in here, I have a type of fern, which for the life of me, I can't remember what it's called. And I also have some of that ficus in here because it seems to grow so well. I take a little snip from the mother plant and just put it in there, and it roots just amazing. It's foolproof. For this one, I saw this little skeleton coming out of a coffin, and I was like, okay, it'll go good with the skull, so I put him in here. And I'll rotate him a little bit, and you can see where the plant is rooting. The dirt is higher in the back because I wanted that fern to sit up higher. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to have to snip it. I also have a little piece of palea in here that I recently bought, and I wanted to see how it was going to do. So I took a little snippet and stuck it in there, right there. And it seems to be holding out just fine. So yeah, this is my little skeleton coming out of his coffin. Yeah, I know, a little morbid, but thought he was cute. All right, guys, so you know me and the Goodwill store and stuff. I was there and I happened to see this jar and I couldn't leave it behind. I think I paid something like $8 for it. Just recently I was at Walmart and I saw them for much more. Glad I picked this one up. I would say this was my first attempt at doing something a little bigger. In here I have a button fern and some Fittonia, and I have got to say the Fittonia has never been happier. I have tried to grow this plant outside of this type of environment, and I just got tired of the dramatic fainting spells. You know, you got to water her every 3 days or she looks like she's dying. But in here, she seems to be thriving. I found that little wagon and the mushrooms at Hobby Lobby, and the stones are from outside. So yeah, also have some of that ficus in here as well. I have the variegated and the green version. Let's see what else is in there. Yep, that's all that's in there. So I'll go ahead and turn that one around a little. Is that a good angle? Oh, you're gonna be quiet now, right? Okay. Anyway, I'll turn this guy around a little bit so you can see. I guess what I'm hoping for is that over time, you know, with the humidity that gets created in here, that wagon will start to look a little bit more rusty and more old. I think that'll add a little bit more charm and appeal to this particular jar. Okay, let's see. Slide this one forward. And push this one over there. All right, so I don't know if you watched my Temu haul, but if you did, you might recognize that little guy that's in there. So it was the little gnome that I wanted to buy and didn't know what they would look like, so I only got one. But he ended up inside the jar. And again, in here I have that same ficus because it does so well. I've got a fern and I've got a peperomia. Actually, just the other day when I was looking at these guys, I happened to notice that this little piece, I cut this out of a piece of acrylic. This acrylic was kind of up, and it was because the peperomia was growing and pushing the lid up. So what I did was I snipped it and put the little piece that I snipped right back in there. Hopefully it'll root and just continue to fill the jar. With this one, instead of using the black gravel at the bottom, I put white. I don't know that I'm a big fan of that. I kind of like the way it blends and you can't tell. But this one has the white gravel at the bottom. But it looks okay. I think it plays with the color on the variegated ficus that's in there. So I'll turn this guy around a little bit. And on this one, you can really see how the plant is actually rooting in. It holds humidity well, even though all it has is this little acrylic thing that I cut and put on the top of it. But as we get to the back, you see how those roots are actually rooting in there. And another thing I failed to mention was that this one has some of that Fittonia, but I have a small Fittonia plant that I've been growing just for the purposes of these terrariums. And what I do is I snip the bigger plant, and I just pop those in there. And let's see, maybe if I move it further back, you can see the Fittonia there. And I didn't know if that was going to take or not, but apparently it's going to root because it's still just as pretty as day one that I put it in there. Oh yeah, and I stole one of my husband's stones. He likes to collect stones, so I took it. What he won't know, what he don't know, don't hurt him. No, you don't. I ain't say nothing. Okay. So, oh, it's growing. Oh, cool. As you could tell, I don't mess with them very often just to look at them. I just noticed that on this one, I don't know if he can zoom in, but if you look right there, the little cutting of the string of hearts that I put in there, it's got baby leaves. It is so cute. Okay, anyway, this is another one of those jars that I found at Goodwill. It had a big old piece of wood around the middle. So what I did was I soaked the jar so that the wood would expand, and then I just broke it off because I didn't want the wood. And I had mentioned before, I found these plates at Goodwill. I just stuck a knob on it to make a lid for this. This has a piece of, I think it's called cork bark. It's what you would use in a reptile tank. And what I did notice that, so I'll tell you, when I first put this one in here, when the humidity level got high, I noticed that there was a fungus, or not fungus, but mold, that's the word. Mold was trying to grow on here. So what I did was I took and I mixed some peroxide and water, and I sprayed it a little bit every couple of days to kill that bacteria. And I have not seen that grow back on this piece of cork bark. But in this one, again, experimenting with the colors down here, I had some green gravel. And while it looks okay, I still think I would have preferred the black, but it's too late now. I have, again, a couple of pieces of the Fittonia that I cut from the mother plant. I've got a fern in here, and then I have, as I had mentioned before, some of the string of hearts. I took a couple of clippings, and what I did was I put some sphagnum moss, and kind of buried the node, and then stuck it inside the little crevices within the wood. That seems to be working well. From what I can tell, this one might be due a little spritz. It's been quite a few months now. But this, by far, is one of my favorites. I think the wood actually gives this one an element of more nature. It just, I don't know, it sits well. This has got to be one of my favorites. Now, the one thing I have been wrestling with these guys is the fact whether I should get springtails or not. I know that after a while, you know, when the plants start to molt, you know, and drop leaves and things, something has got to eat that up, or I would have to do the maintenance of clipping, you know, the bad pieces out and, you know, removing them so that I'm not creating a bad environment for the plants. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe in the near future. Okay, got one more for you. Let's push him out here. Put this one back over there and roll this one over there. Okay. So, yeah, I was at Walmart and I saw this thing, which if you guys have children and have watched SpongeBob, I think this is something in the SpongeBob cartoon. It's actually for fish tanks, but I thought it was cute and I thought I could do something with them in a terrarium. In this one, again, I have fern. I have the same ficus. I actually have some ivy in this one as well. The piece that's coming out of his eyeball, kind of, sort of right there, that's just wrapped in moss and just tucked in, and she's actually starting to put out roots along this side. The base on this one is white, and the dirt composition is the same. Move this one out the way. And I've had to trim this one back a couple of times because everything seems to be growing really fast. The top on this one, again, is just a piece of acrylic that I cut, and I put a knob on the top of it. You know me, handy dandy, keep everything. Put the knob on the top, make it easy to take on and off. Yeah, so I think this is the third one that I built that was a little bigger than a candle jar. And it's also got clippings from the Fittonia in there that seem to be taking on really, really well. And when I get back to the front, I don't know if you'll notice, but the fern is starting to reproduce. And it's actually got a little piece that's coming out of what would be the totem's mouth, which I think is really cool too. It's kind of jungly in here. I may have to thin this out a little bit, but we'll wait and see how that goes. So if you look right down there, you'll see a piece of fern coming out like where the mouth is. And I actually didn't put that there, which is a good sign. That means that the roots, you know, are expanding the bottom of this, and it's growing really nicely. So yeah, this is my little SpongeBob terrarium. Okay, and then the last thing I'm gonna show you is I've gotten a little ambitious. And my husband, instead of saying no, 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 he's like, surprise! So he bought me a fish tank. They were on sale, and he got me the tank. So let's see, turn it this way. I want to experiment. I went ahead and got the lid, which is just a plexiglass, and I bought a light which suctions, and I got some bark or reptile stuff. I want to build something in here, and I went and convinced him to buy me a couple of bags of stone. So I've got this slate looking stuff right here, and I've got these Mexican pebbles over here. Haven't decided if I want to attempt to do a water feature or not in this one. I think I'm going to do that in a smaller one. I even went and got some foam, expanding foam, in the event that I need to try to figure out how to get the rocks in the background to sit right. So yeah, when I say I caught the bug, I mean I really caught the bug. And if you're asking where I'm gonna put this, it'll probably go on an IKEA cabinet that's in the living room. I'll have to show you that when it's full of begonias. So that's all I've got for you today. I don't know when I'm going to do this build. I'm still a little hesitant. I'm a little chicken. These guys are small. This is a bigger endeavor. I think I want to start with something just maybe half the size of this and see how that goes. And if that goes well, then I'll jump in. I'm waiting for a couple of things on this one. I ordered some leca. Instead of using gravel, I want to use leca as a false bottom for this one. But yeah, I'll keep you posted. Guys, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for returning if you've been here before. I really appreciate it. You guys breathe life into me with these comments, and I so appreciate them. So if you like this type of content, don't forget, like, subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave us a comment. Thank you and have a great day. Bye, guys. Stop it.